seem to work well.
It's still a good intro.
It is. I like it.
It's a good intro, man.
It's a good intro to Jeremiah Creek.
There you go.
I'm Dave Haynes. That's Bull Garlington. Oh, I should flip our screen around because their names are below the wrong person.
Do you have to? Why go to all that effort?
That's how much effort it was right there.
So I got a question.
Now our names are below. So this is my name right there, and this is his name right there.
Thank you.
All right, so it's another quiet day at the cigar store. So we're like talking like we're doing a golf.
It's like the Dave and Chris ASMR video.
Yeah.
Again.
Usually, what happened to all the old screaming Greek guys that were playing poker over there?
They died.
They are playing cards.
They've died.
Cards. All right.
I mean, there's been a lot of attrition in this shop.
Oh God.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of guys that we used to hang out with that are, hang out near that aren't here. Yeah, okay, so here's the drama from last night.
All right, so there's drama last night at Bull's house.
Yeah. So we have a neighbor, everyone in Chicago has one of those neighbors that has too many cars, right?
I am that neighbor.
Oh.
I mean, but I feel bad. I have my car, my wife's car, my daughter's car, and my motorcycle. So on the rare occasions where I park my motorcycle on the street because I'm doing stuff in the garage, and everybody's home, we have like 4 cars out there. But I live 2 doors from the end of the block.
Yeah.
So my car is usually parked around the corner, not in front of anybody's house. And
yeah, you're considerate. You think about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I've discussed it with neighbors. We have a new neighbor because one of my young neighbors got married, and she is not in the. I mean, all my neighbors, basically, you park in front of your house.
Yeah.
Because you can fit 2 cars in front of your house.
Exactly.
And then, I park around the corner, And then if you have family or people are picking up from the school down the street, well, it's temporary, and everybody is happy with it. No problem.
And for those of you who aren't in Chicago, you have to know that a lot of Chicago neighborhoods, homes don't have driveways.
Right. We don't have driveways.
That's important.
And we can't park in the alley.
Right. I live in a neighborhood that does have driveways, but we also park in the street. And my wife has a peculiar way of parking in the driveway that she feels that she paid for. So I park in the street to give her that space. So we don't have both of our cars in the driveway. Also, we leave at different times, and I don't want to be trapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mostly it's because she's weird. She has to park right at the end of... It's a long story. Right?
Whoa. What do you mean at the end of the driveway?
She parks between the sidewalk and the edge of our house.
All right, she doesn't block the sidewalk, though.
She doesn't block the sidewalk,
right.
No, she's not. She's very considerate of everyone except me. And so I park directly in front of our house. But we have a fire hydrant right by our driveway. So it makes my wife nervous, right? Her whole life, because that was her aunt's house before we bought it. Her whole life, she's been told every time she goes out the door to get in the car, watch out for the fire hydrant. So there's a fire hydrant fear that's developed there. If you go straight, you have to try to hit that fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Right? Still, it's there. And across the street, we have 2 neighbors, one directly across and one to the left. And both between them, they have like 10 cars. All right? And one of them parks across the sidewalk on purpose every day. And he doesn't go anywhere for weeks. And his car's parked diagonally in his driveway across the sidewalk.
Well, that's illegal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Please send somebody over. I hate this dude.
I'm retired now, but you could call 311 and be like, hey, they're blocking the sidewalk.
I don't have a lot of faith in 311. Because I hear these stories about people that have neighbors that have like 12 cars, and they're jerks about it.
It doesn't. Okay, legally speaking, if you're legally parked and legally licensed, it doesn't matter how many cars you have, and it doesn't matter whose house you're parked in front of.
That's true. It's an open street.
It's an open street.
Yeah, that's an agreement it's an unspoken agreement between the neighbors.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I come home, or the day before yesterday, I come home, and there's this big white van parked in front of my house, in my space, right? Big. And I know it belongs to a guy that I think lives with the neighbor that I don't like, that's 2 doors to the left with all the cars. Pretty sure that's his, son who lives at home with him now. This adult guy, right? I'm like, fuck. All right, whatever. And I park down the street because there's plenty of room. All right. The people down the street, none of them park in the street. So it's always open. One door down for me, always open.
Yeah.
Last night I went to a meeting and I got home and I had Ubered to the meeting. The guy in the van had parked behind me, like pulled right up to my car, and half his van was covering like a third of our driveway. And then it had a big thing sticking out. So he put that and the hydrant together. My wife was like, I can't get out. You know? Plus, hit the whole street.
Yeah.
It's a dick move, all right? That wasn't a guy who couldn't find a space and was like, oh, I'll be gone in the morning. That was a guy who was like, fuck you guys, all right? So I called the cops. I knocked on the door first. No one answered, right? It's 10 o'clock at night. I knock on the door. Nobody answers. And I'm like, fine, all right. So this is your choice, man. So I called the cops. And the van's registered in Saugus, Schaumburg, you know. And I'm like, I thought the guy lived around here. And I'm like, can you tow it? And they're like, no. I'm like, what? Why? And I'm like, because everybody downtown is in wrecks and all the tow trucks are busy because it was the first snow of the year.
Yeah.
And everybody went crazy. And they go, we can give him a ticket. And I'm like, give him a big ticket. And he goes, all right. So they gave the guy a ticket. I wanted to kill the dude because that was such a dick move. And I really don't want to ever have to think about parking. I basically live in a suburb. I should not have to think, and I have a driveway. I should never have to think about parking. But I can tell now, because I know he got a ticket, that now it's on. And so since I drove here right now, somehow that dude's going to come home early, and he's going to have my fucking space. And then I'm going to go to San Francisco tomorrow, and I'm going to have to park down the street, and that guy's going to own my space for a week.
Yeah, that sucks. I had when my kids were, the older kids were living at home, when they were old enough to have cars, but they hadn't moved out yet. I had a neighbor across the street, guy, fireman, and he comes over and he talks to me. And this is we had this conversation when my youngest was still a baby. Oh, and his actually what it was his kids were old enough to have cars and had moved out. Or his kid. So he came over and he started talking about parking in front of the house because somebody had parked in front of the house. And he was like, if you could try to avoid parking in front of the house, and we were it was a nice conversation. And I said, I told him, I said, listen, I will park my car around the corner. I'll tell the kids to park the car. I'll make sure that the kids don't park in front of the house. I'm not telling my wife that she's got to walk around the corner with the baby.
Yeah.
So let's, I'll tell you right now, I'll make sure the kids don't. I won't park in front of your house. But if my wife can't find a spot in front of the house, she's parking wherever the fuck she wants, and I ain't telling her not to. And he was cool with that.
Yeah.
We also have a neighbor, because I live like 2 houses off the corner. We have a neighbor across the street.
To be fair, when Michelle was a baby and you had talked to me like that, I would have said, yes, sir, if I didn't know you. And I would not have approached you about a parking space.
Oh, no. So, I mean, I have been, I hear neighbor stories.
No,
God.
You're never mean, but you were a cop and you were a
he was
large
a
guy.
He didn't give a fuck.
Oh, that's true.
But I frequently have, because as 28 years on the police department, I dealt with many a neighbor dispute, and I have never stopped from saying the fact that I have been so freaking lucky with my neighbors.
Yeah.
Even when I've had arguments, like the neighbor next door, she can scream a little bit about water in the basement and stuff, unreasonably. But,
how's that? What's that got to do with you?
Well, she blamed me one time. Because I had to run a hole, because everybody got water in one of those rainstorms where everybody gets water in their basement.
Yeah.
And I had run a sump pump hose out, and I didn't put it far enough out in the yard, so she thought I got more water. That's ridiculous. But I mean, I've had the same neighbors for 25 years, and I've gotten
Chef still there?
The what?
Chef T?
No, he moved. He moved to Park Ridge. But I've gotten along with all my neighbors. Very few of them do we ever have problems with, and none of the ones that I have to deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They've all been wonderful. My next door neighbor's fantastic. He bought his house 2 weeks before I bought mine, so we've been living together.
I feel the same way. I love this neighborhood, and you know, even though I think my neighbors are completely fucking crazy, and it's not like I want to hang out with them, all right? They're fine, you know. But this guy is a wingnut, you know. He doesn't own a home there, and he's, you know, whatever happened to his life happened to his life, and now he's living in a trailer in his dad's driveway. But his dad is weird. His dad has like the front end. The gutted front end.
Wait, he's living in a trailer in the driveway. This is like Eddie from Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, he's a big dude too. Yeah, I mean fat. He's a big fat guy. He's tall and fat, and you know, he used to have a different van and it had something about entertainment on it. Now he's got a better van with no words on it, but I think he does something in entertainment. I don't know what that is, but what a guy like that would do. He's not a magician, that's for sure. And
doesn't hand out free candy.
No, yesterday he was not handing out candy.
Wait a minute, you live not too far from Des Plaines, where the river, right? Over there by the river goes through the forest preserve.
Yeah.
So this guy literally lives in a van down by the river.
Kinda, yeah. And but here's the thing, man. I have what I like to refer to as adaptive morals. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty rigid up until the point.
What does Nietzsche have to say about that?
I don't know. Nietzsche can blow me. I have really rigid morals up until I'm offended, and then my morals begin to like adapt to the situation. And I feel like this guy's going to start something, and I feel like he's making a bad decision because I'm home all day. And I'm really creative, and again, and I can't stress this enough, adaptive morals, and my wife's a lawyer.
So you would never consider using violence unless you were offended and really thought you can get away with it.
First of all, not even as a joke, I would never do violence because I can't kick anyone's ass. All right, I would always lose. And so I'm not going to, violence is not my way. But deeply devious manipulation is something that I'm good at. And you know, and the Anarchist Cookbook was one of my favorite books when I was a kid, and so is this book called Revenge by the same guy, which was an eye-opener in terms of things you can do to people to get back at them. And I think this guy, I don't like him.
Well, I got some mason jars at home if you want to put some milk and chicken parts in it and leave it somewhere in his van where he won't find it.
Well, I mean, his van's pretty locked up.
Well, you tape it.
I'd never get in it.
Duct tape it to the bottom.
Step one is to befriend the guy. See him sometime, go, hey man, how you doing? Introduce himself and say, you know, weren't you in the entertainment industry or something like that? You just befriend the guy and eventually get his business card. And from there, fucking ruin his life. Just ruin his life, man. Over a parking space. I feel like I can do it. What's the worst bad prank? I'm using the word prank, but we're kind of talking about savagery and possible criminal stuff. But what's the worst thing you've ever done to somebody?
Successfully or tried to do something?
Whichever one's more entertaining.
I got my brother-in-law drunk at his bachelor party and tried to put him on a bus to Memphis with nothing but sun's going on.
Fucking beautiful, man. God damn it.
It didn't
Fred?
work out. No, Tony.
Was that the whole plan, to get him drunk and put him on a bus, or did it just come up while he was drunk?
It came up while he was drunk, but it was because he, at my bachelor party, I fell asleep for a few minutes and he put some Cheese Whiz down the back of my pants, and I thought
Oh, God. Well, he deserved that shit.
It was the old days.
What's the worst successful one?
I'm not very good at pranks. I don't think I've done any major things. I don't know. My wife did one where she managed to turn the entire kitchen against me one April Fool's Day, where it's like everything was in reverse, and I turned the water on and the sprayer was duct taped open so that the water sprayed, and
That's pretty funny.
put green
I didn't know anything was like that.
food coloring in my coffee creamer, so I
Oh
thought
my God. Oh, I want to do that now. I canceled a guy's classes at college one time, and he didn't know.
Oh, I sent really disgusting pornography to somebody's house.
That's a good one.
Signed him up for a.
That might be happening shortly for my neighbor. So, when I was in Georgia briefly, I was living in this basement apartment for free because I managed this band and they arranged it for me. And but the guy that lived there before me, I kept getting his mail, and it was class schedules and stuff from the University of Georgia and everything because he was attending there. He never came by and picked it up. He was attending. He was working hard at college, and one time he loaned a guitar to the band, and they went on tour, and the guitar got stolen, and he was really pissed. He was threatening to kick people's ass and stuff like that, and I was like, "I'm a fuckhead." So I took his mail and had his social security number and everything on there, and I called up the admissions office at the University of Georgia, and I said I was him, and I gave him all the information, and I canceled every one of his classes at the beginning of a semester. Canceled every one of them. He never knew, because it's a university. It's not like the professor is going to talk with him about it. Right. They're just going to go, okay, and he's still going to keep going the whole time. And at the end, he did all that work, didn't get anything for it.
That's mean.
And he didn't know it was me either. You know, I'd see the guy at a bar sometimes. Bought him a drink. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, man, it's pretty rough. I'm like, yeah, well, you're a dick, so that's what happens.
Before I retired, I bought one of those little random sound noise makers and put it in the office at the police station.
Yeah.
So that it goes off somewhere between 5 and 45 minutes, and it just beeps.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
People just walk around going, "What the fuck is? Where is it?"
The daytime lieutenant or the afternoon lieutenant, he would like station people in the office trying to figure out where the fuck it was coming from.
Oh my god!
But he figured out it was me pretty quick. But I kept it going for the last 3 weeks before I retired, and then when the night I retired, I left it for him as a gift.
That's fantastic. That's worthy. I remember when I was in retail during Christmas, we were so busy. All right, we were so fucking busy, and the line would go to this display case and then turn and come to the cash register. Okay, so there was always somebody who was with their back against the display case, and so my friend brought in a remote control fart machine, and we were trying to figure out where to put it. We put it on a shelf at ass level behind this box set of like Frank Sinatra, and we had the remote control right by the register. And when somebody would come in, and once they would get to that line, every once in a while we just hit that button, and it would just like, it was bad. It was a squishy sound, and everyone, it was so clear, and because it was a display thing, it kind of like
echoed.
Yeah, it focused. It was like the horn of a trumpet or something, and it focused it. And we knew we were going to do it, so what would happen, we'd always look up at them like that. Like the whole crew would go like this, and then look at each other go. So it was so absolutely great. That's what I miss about working at a location, all right, is, to be honest with you, I kind of miss pranks, man. Yeah, I really don't. Who's going to pay a prank on now? Well, I mean, this fucker that parked in my driveway is going to get slammed, but that's not even a prank, you know? It's more like a crime. So I got a question for you.
All right.
How fast do you think we could write a new Beat Cops guide? You think we could get it done by April?
My problem is I got all the notes written. It's just I'm too lazy to sit down and write.
How fast can you assemble all those notes together? I think you've already done it, right?
Yeah.
So
the question would be is how would we do it? Would we do it on Scrivener? And then how would we share it?
Let's not talk about that.
All right.
Let's talk about why I'm asking you. I was hanging out with these guys last night, and one of them's my business partner at All American Whiskey. We're actually working on our first actual deal, all right? And I think it's going to work out. It's pretty cool. But the guy we're working with, his side gig, and this guy's got a multi-million-dollar marketing thing. His side gig is he's putting together a new improv theater, like to rival Second City. Wow. Fronting the whole thing. And Chicago's been down an improv thing because IO Theater shut down. Yeah. So there's been a lack of space. He's got a 100-seat theater, and he sort of offered it to me last night, and I was like, you don't even know me. He goes, yeah, this guy says you're cool. I'm like, all right, and he's gonna open in January, and I'm like, we get our book out. We could do the debate.
Where's the theater?
It's down Belmont and Lincoln.
Huh.
I don't know what it's called. I mean, I know what it's going to be called, but it hadn't opened yet. He's super cool too.
But yeah, I mean, I figure.
We were cracking up last
Well,
night.
I figured when I retired, one of the things I was going to do is I was going to sit down and write more often, which I really haven't done, except for the foreword and the
That was good.
weekly
by the way.
thing.
I like
Yeah,
the pre-battle.
I like how you say I write a foreword for his book, and he said, "Oh, it's perfect." And then I noticed there's 35 fucking changes.
It's nothing. That is nothing.
Wait,
man.
I only have one. Debate. Should we talk about this? Fuck.
Yeah, why not?
Nobody listens.
Yeah, we're shouting to the void, here,
Yeah.
man.
I only have one thing. You took out the word stipulate.
Several times.
Yeah, and so I intentionally did that because I wanted to use legalese type phrases.
I know.
So I think instead of saying first, second, third like you did, you should say it should say I stipulate and then I further stipulate and then I further stipulate.
Okay,
instead.
yeah, that's cool. We'll just change
Because there's
it.
only 3 of them, I think.
Just
right?
change it. Yeah, change it in the docs, and then I'll copy and paste it and put it in a book.
Did you like the reference to the neighborhood court thing that Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage?
Yeah, I thought it was
I
great.
bought a T-shirt from that guy. You
It's a real place.
yeah.
Oh, I have to footnote that shit.
It's not a real place. It's not a real place. It was a skit by a Chicago comedian, and somebody brought it up. I was at a party the other day, and somebody brought it up, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't heard that in years. And so we were looking up on YouTube for the old. He made commercials and shit for this.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
What the hell was his name? Man, I
Yeah,
knew his name.
I never knew his name.
Hines, Robert Hines, I think. Anyway, and he had this character Toby Johnson or Toby Jones, and he did Jones Barbecue and foot massage, where you could go and get a barbecue lunch and a foot massage for like $6 or whatever.
Because that's what you want, man.
And I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that in years. So I looked it up, and the guy still sells T-shirts. So I ordered a T-shirt. I'll wear it next week.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so I did that. So I did we got laughed out of People's Court and went right to the neighborhood court.
I like it. It's already in, but I just got to replace it with changes and everything. So it looks sharp. Yeah, the book is ready. I mean, I'm just waiting on Teresa Goodrich to send me her forward. She resurfaced and said she'd be working on it. So, and it'll come out in January. And
So
I
you
got
have
these.
2 forwards?
No, I have the forward and the prebuttal.
Oh,
Yeah, which I think is pretty funny, and comes out in January. And I got a couple of shows scheduled for the little space that I have, and noticed you haven't signed up for one yet.
no, because I told Annie about it, and we were trying to figure out who we would invite. And you said to invite some people.
Yeah,
So,
they'll all get a book.
although I didn't think it mattered that much because it was in January. I guess it's only 2 months away now.
Yeah,
Man,
it's
it's-
selling out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't do it soon, I'm gonna have to open another one just so you can go. So I'm trying to keep it to 15 people because I want it to be very small and intimate and everything. And also, I'm workshopping this thing, because I was gonna try to take it to a theater space. Now I'm like, I have one, and dude, free. So you figure if I sell 100 tickets to a thing, if I sell 70 tickets to a thing, first of all, the books included in the tickets, that's 70 books a night. That's good sales.
How do you decide on the cost? So it's got to be the book plus something, right? So
Yeah, I've worked it all out. Right now, first of all, I learned something really, I don't know if you want to nerd out too much about publishing, but
Sure.
I learned a really, so this novel, the one I gave you, the transluminal thing, I published that at 5x7. The trim size is 5x7, and it's 300 and some odd pages. And while I was working out the new book, I looked at case costs, right? Because they ship it like so many books in a case. So you buy the books by the case if you're the author. And I was looking at the cost, and it was It was a lot. And I was like, and I looked at another one of my books, The Full English, which is a different size. It's 6x9. And it was basically the same number of pages. And the profit on that was more than half of what it was on the other boxes. And I was like, what the fuck? And I thought about it. I'm like, it's because of the trim size, because there's more books in the box when it's a bigger trim size, because it's a thinner book. And I was like, holy fuck, man. So I changed the new Fat in Paris, so it's a 6x9 size. And I'm going to make more money simply because I made a different size book. I'm like, holy crap. Like, I didn't know, stuff you don't know, man. And I'm even making more money per book. So the books are going to cost me, after I add up shipping and taxes and everything, the books are costing me $6.01 per book.
Wow.
To publish. And so when I sell tickets to the show, they're going to be $20, right? And I don't have to pay for the space.
Oh my God. Sorry.
What?
My daughter got accepted to Loyola.
Look, I'm already married to somebody who doesn't listen to me, Dave.
Sorry.
So,
She just sent me the thing, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? She's sending me something in the middle of the school day for?
That's awesome.
So you have to check to make
Does she
sure
want to
she's not
go
under
to
arrest.
Loyola?
It's not her first choice. It's not my
I
first
think
choice.
it's anybody's first choice.
What is her first choice, or is it anybody's?
I don't think Loyola is anyone's first choice.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people love Loyola. My wife went there for a year,
Marty went there for a little bit.
but that's when I met her, when she was going to Loyola. But
That's how I decide the cost, by the way.
so
is-
getting back to the book, I mean, I can see how we can get a first draft done in 3 months or less. So even with the holidays, because I mean, I on Scrivener, I set up most of them. Now I did it a few months ago, so I have a lot of restaurants that I've done since then. But the main thing, of course, even with those settings, we find out which ones are still open, because
And there's new ones we want to add.
and there's new ones we're going to want to add.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'd have to figure out to make sure the format that you like, and then it's just a question of, I mean, I just sit down there and do it. You know what I mean? Because all I have
Yeah.
is notes.
Yeah, you kind of got to push yourself on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But they only have to be like 300 words each, and then the details and everything. And because it's a listing, it's not a, and then we have to decide what the prose part's going to be. On the other one we wrote about crime and stuff, but we could write about something else on this.
What do you mean, the pros?
So on the other one, we had it as a listing and we talked about it, and then we talked about what crime happened nearby.
yeah.
So do we want to do the same thing, or?
Well, lately I haven't been doing that. I talk more about the neighborhood and try to come up with trivia about.
What if we do it this way, to put it toward the debate, and maybe we call it the Beat Cups Guide to Chicago Classic Food, and each chapter is about like fucking Italian beefs. So we talk about the Italian beef, and then we have a listing of all our best choices for that.
Well,
And then we do one for tacos and one for cheesy beefs and one for pizza and everything,
That's not
and one
bad,
for
but-
hot dogs.
but okay, the way we had it set up last time, and the way I have it divided up this time is the 5 police areas, and then suburbs, and then basically talking about. I think I separated out the desserts, but the thought would be that we would still put those in the same area.
Yeah.
The dessert stuff was because I started doing bakeries half the time.
I think that if we did it the other way, divided it by food, I think people would be more invested in it, including people that don't live in Chicago, because people that don't live in Chicago are interested in the food. So if we did it that way, so if we did it by the type of food, it's a broader gimmick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like that idea, but I just think the format should be a little different. That it would be, we still do it by areas, but pick 5 debates.
Oh wait, so each area has its chief food, right?
It doesn't really. You can find a little bit of everything. So, I mean, to a certain extent, but we can highlight the debate. So,
Right.
so if you so say area 1 is going to be ketchup on hot dogs debate. So we still have a bunch of restaurants,
Yeah.
and then either at the beginning, at the end, however, or little bits in the middle, we put the different whether hot ketchup should be on hot dogs, and then even though area it would still have other restaurants. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because to divide them up by food, unless we strictly stick to those restaurants.
Well, all I'm saying is that in terms of selling the book and maybe selling the debate, if the book is kind of geared towards that, you know what I mean? Then
Well, what would the fire be? Ketchup on hot dogs, thin and thick crust, Italian beef, dipped or dry. What would two other ones?
tacos,
What do you debate about tacos?
I don't know. Surely we can figure shit out, you know? I thought there were only 3 areas. There's 5 areas?
There's 5 areas. Oh yeah,
We can figure it out.
There was 3 at one time.
We can figure it out, you know? We'll figure something out.
We could just
do
do it 3. I mean, we could just do 3 different debates, but those are 3 cliched debates.
So what? They're cliched
I
for
like
a
the
reason.
idea to come up with 2 more though that we create them. We have the cliched and then we create 2.
Fuck, what would that be though, man?
Oh, vinegar on French fries? I don't know.
No, we've already got ketchup on fries,
No, ketchup on hot dogs.
or ketchup on hot dogs. Yeah, I don't know.
English food versus Scottish food.
No, it's got to be something Chicago based.
North side versus south side Polish sausage. I don't know.
I mean, that's,
Just north side versus south side foods.
you know what?
Whether there is an east side of Chicago.
Or we could just make up the east side of Chicago and talk about its cuisine, even though it doesn't fucking exist.
There is an east side of Chicago.
There's not.
It
It's the
is.
like, come on, the
It's
Gold
south
Coast.
Side. No, the south side has the east. Hegewisch is east side.
Yeah.
What,
Put out some feelers and think about it, but I think we have a chance of making a book that has a hook like that. You know what I mean? That we can talk about in the press, but then we could also, if we could do shows, if the thing
So
and get
it would
it.
be like the Beat Cops guy did a great Chicago food debate.
I think the Beat Cups guy would be small, right? And I think the Great Chicago Food Debate would be big, and maybe we can kind of cross base it on the Douglas. What was the thing we did before the
Lincoln Douglas debate.
Lincoln Douglas debates, but also Chicago Fire, like the great, we can do all those things, and it could be, okay, we got to get barbecues in there. We got to do something about barbecue, right? Because everyone's about ribs, right? So we got to do the debate about the best ribs in Chicago. So that could be one of them, because that come on, man. There's some serious.
There's several different debates: sweet versus spicy sauce, sauce versus
But
dry
imagine
rub.
the theatrical aspect of it. We've talked about it before. We come in and divide. We divide the room, all right? As people come in, we're like, "Are you ketchup or are you mustard?" And we divide the room like that until we can't, And then we get the argument going.
We could even do one cooking.
And here's the thing: it's going to have a restaurant in front, so they'll be able to have hot dogs while they're there.
we could also do a debate. The 5th one could be ordering out or cooking at home,
Yeah.
and then we can have recipes too.
I don't mind having recipes. But
I think we should have 5 debates. We should come up with 5
yeah,
debates.
I agree.
3 of them are easy.
Yeah, I think the ribs is a good choice.
Ribs is a good one.
We could put it on a list of things, and surely it will show up organically.
So then would we basically limit those areas? So the great ketchup on hot dog debate would then we would have all hot dog stands or places that sell hot dogs.
That's what I'm thinking. Is like each chapter we're still talking about the areas and everything. So each chapter will focus on that debate and the history of like the debate, and quotes from everybody. It'll be fun. And but we'll also say, chiefly, here's where you're going to find hot dogs in Chicago, in Chicagoland, in Area 1, and blah blah. There's also whatever, blah blah blah. But we can fabricate that, We can push it. It doesn't have to be. What are we, scientists? It doesn't have to be fucking accurate.
Yeah, we can basically say Area 1 is known for the finest hot dogs in the world, but then there's also these over here.
Right,
these over
right.
here, these over
But that will get debate started because people go, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" You know. And I mean, I know a lot of people in the food industry, including Michael Gebert, who will write about it. You know, and if we're gonna have a theater like that, and you got the radio thing going on, oh man,
chicken wings, flappers versus drums, or the whole wing, which would in the black neighborhoods, the whole wing comes.
I want to find something that's really, really, really Chicago that we haven't thought. I'm sure there's something we haven't. We only need one more. There's something we haven't thought about, and I'm sure that it's there. You know, and we just haven't thought about it.
Yeah,
I mean, Best Jewish Deli would be one I would love to do.
there's not that many though.
But I know. Skokie versus Chicago. I don't know. I think we could have Best All Night Diner.
Again, not that many anymore because of the pandemic.
I think we can make it work. And you know what? I mean,
Best bakery, best donuts.
oh,
I mean, I've been
there
doing
it
that-
is.
I've been doing the donut Olympics every year.
There it is, man. Best donuts. You know, and we start with the best donuts, and we end with the ketchup on hot dogs. You know,
All right, so, and we could talk about how to write it. Like, do we do Google Docs or
sure.
do you have a drop thing?
And whatever you need, I got it all.
I mean, I like the Scrivener design,
Yeah.
but the problem would be collaborating. So we have to.
All you have to do is pull your. We'll figure it out. I like Scrivener too. Let's use Scrivener. We'll figure it out.
All right.
Yeah. And
Because I can put up the notes and then we just have to readjust them to
Yeah.
how we're going to set up the area.
and then all I have to do, I can do all the publishing. I know how to do that, no problem. And I've got ISBNs stacked that we can have an ISBN stack that. You know, we should probably.
well, if we
get
do
a-
it quick, that means I'm going to have to keep doing the. I was thinking about not stopping the radio stuff since I'm not making any money doing it.
Oh, I mean,
But if we're going to really work on this, I'll keep going until.
you know what you need for the radio stuff?
Huh.
You need a partner in there.
We won't let anybody else on the radio.
Come on.
But if we start promoting the book, if we get to the point where we can say it's coming out in the near future, maybe then we can get.
I mean, it would be good to do that. Could launch the book at the theater, you know.
Yeah.
And that guy runs a marketing company, and I actually believe that he will be able to fill the entire theater.
And Bob
And then-
Surratt would probably come and be the MC.
What's that?
Bob Surratt would probably be the MC.
Bro, I think we got something going on right here. I'm telling you, man.
We just have to do it.
I'm ready. I mean, I am busy, you know, but there's something about the idea of the. I've always loved the idea of the debate, and I don't know. It's just
All right, I'll tell you what. I will start working on it tomorrow. Like I said, I got a lot of the restaurants. They're divided up by areas, but we could.
look. There's 5 areas. We have 5 debates. Leave it divided by area. We'll just figure it out. If
We're
have
going to have to move the restaurants, though.
if we have to do that, we're in Scrivener.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
But I have to write the things too. So
Here's the thing. Don't write the restaurant reviews. Start by picking one of the debates and get into that. And don't even have a purpose. Just start writing about it, you know, and do a little research if you have to and everything. So you pick donuts and I'll pick the ribs. All right? And so that's how we'll start. We'll get going. And
All right.
And then let's see if we can get as we get closer, maybe we can find somebody that's got some pull. Like, well, maybe Gebert would do it to write a forward for the book, you know, so that we'll lean into their distribution too, you know, and I don't know, I'm excited about it suddenly.
all right, well, good. Because I've been actually feeling like I'm not doing anything that I wanted to do. One of the things I wanted to do was to get up every morning and at least for an hour or two just write. And
There's
I
great
haven't been
value in
doing
that,
it.
man, and you have a good idea for a fiction book.
I do. Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful idea. And here's the thing, man, is, all right, so I think I've talked to you about this before, and I'm not sure, but there's a physicality to writing that no one thinks about. And it's very similar to like yoga or meditation or just having a cup of coffee every morning. And that is that it becomes a ritual and your body acclimates to it. And so if you do have time every morning, if you have a space every morning and you can secure that space, and this is what I do. It's not, I do it when I wake up. It's not necessarily a particular time. But once you get, you're on fire, Dave. Once you get that going, after a certain number of days of doing it, religiously, your body begins to expect it. And so when you sit down to your desk during that time, as you approach your desk, as you get ready to sit down in there, your body is like, okay, we're going to do that thing we do every day. And your mind also adjusts and prepares to write. And you'll find yourself sitting down, and as you open your laptop, you're there and you're in your writing space. You don't have to get there, you'll be there. It's just a matter of getting it started. But once you get it started, it's there until you fuck it up,
It's, what do you call it? Muscle memory is what we call it in the military.
Yeah.
When you know how to, where your gun is and how to pull it out.
Yep. That's really a part of it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They don't, and that's part of why a lot of people have writer's block, is because they don't turn it into a habit, But if you turn it into a habit, your body likes habits. It wants habits. And once you have something like that done, your body's like, all right, we're on board, So I think you should do that. You have space now. Your kids are grown up.
Yep. I do, and I have the right time. I just got to do the same thing every day.
What you do is you do a habit chain, so you connect it to something you're already doing every day. So, like, I don't know, do you have a cup of coffee when you wake up?
Yeah, well, I eat breakfast. I get up, I'll have a cup of coffee, I'll eat breakfast, and then my plan when I retired was that I would get up in the morning, get ready for the day, have breakfast, and then write for 2 hours, and then
connect writing to breakfast.
You mean
do a book after breakfast? Connect that word thing in there, book after breakfast. So every day, as you're putting your dishes away, know that the very next thing you're going to do is go write, and your body will get used to that. I have mine attached to coffee and feed the animals. When I have my coffee in the morning, in my mind I actually envision myself walking to my desk and sitting down. I see my hand putting the coffee down right there. I flip that fucker open and I get going. Although right now, maybe the reason I'm kind of excited about this is because right now I don't really have a book going on. I've got that space opera thing, but it's not calling to me at the moment.
Yeah.
It's good, but
well, I'm up for it. Even when I go, like I'm going down to Tennessee next week, but even then I'll have actually more time, because really I won't have any interruptions unless I do the interruption.
And you get great internet now.
Yeah.
I think it's I think we came up with a cool idea today, and I'm telling you, this dude that I met, he would be all over it, and he might win some marketing towards it,
Cool.
If it's going to be in his theater, he definitely would, and I think he would be up for doing this in his theater. I think he'd. Fucking dripping makes me crazy.
What is that?
They're leaking somewhere from the fucking
snow.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't see any water on the floor.
All right. Here's another thing that happened to me.
All right, because we're at 45 minutes. So.
I started Mounjaro.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like Ozempic.
Oh.
The weight loss thing. So I had my first shot on a Sunday, and I did not think it was going to do anything right away, but it did. And it's weird, and I feel weird, but I don't have any desire to eat. None.
Wow.
My appetite is gone. And it used to be that I was always thinking about eating.
And are you losing big chunks of your day while you're having blackouts?
Yeah. No.
Wake up with...
It's really weird, Dave. I didn't realize it was going to have any effect right away.
Was this a shot or what?
Yeah, it's a shot, which I don't like. I had to make my wife do it for me. And
Oh, you have to do it at home?
yeah, needles and everything.
Wow.
And,
Oh, your wife probably loved it though.
no.
I'll poke you a couple times.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I've been poking her a lot, so no, she hates doing it. I'm probably gonna have to figure out how to do it myself. I do not want to give myself a shot, but since Sunday, man, I don't have that. Like, I have no thoughts of food, none. Like at night, late at night, I used to plow through stuff, no matter how hard I tried not to. It was,
Yeah.
And last night when I went out with these dudes, the place we went serves really small glasses of beer if you want them. That's what I had. And then when I ordered food, I didn't even finish a third of it. Just wasn't. And it was fucking like a really good mac and cheese, like a chef level mac and cheese, with bacon and like, it was really good,
Well, I never heard of this though. I had heard of Ozempic, but
I was
basically
prescribed
the same thing.
Wegovy, and we couldn't get it. And I said, "Can I do Mounjaro?" He goes, "Yeah." And Mounjaro is like the other two, but it's slightly different. It has an extra molecule in it, and a lot of people talk about it was made for people that are diabetic, and it changes the way your body processes sugar, but not at the digestive level. It changes it at the glandular level. So it changes the way your body recognizes and like, I'm finger quoting here, thinks about sugar. And so that effect is that your body suddenly doesn't feel like it needs sugar. And so it's not hungry. And the other thing that it does is, apparently one of the side effects is it sort of rearranges your addictions. So people that are taking this they're their craving for alcohol goes away, and their craving for like coffee goes away, and other things. Like, it's really bizarre. And I've lost 60 pounds since yesterday.
Let me ask you something else too, because this came up in conversation. You mentioned you couldn't get Ozempic, and Annie's been looking around, and apparently all drugs are hard to get.
Yeah, well, these in particular.
Yeah, but
yeah, all drugs are hard to get right now.
There's some kind of shortage of all these medications that are just, and like at first when I first heard about hard to get Ozempic, I thought, well, that's a real popular thing, and a lot of people with diabetes, and it works real well. It's been in the news, yada yada. But it's not even just that. It's like EpiPens and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm wondering why. I can't figure out.
The pandemic. I think a lot of people don't realize that the impact on the supply chain and on the infrastructure of global business from pandemic was serious. And because we never think about that, because we're not involved in it, it's hard for us to recognize just how much of an impact that makes. But the impact was enormous. People forget that a lot of people died. A lot of people died.
Yeah, but that means that it should be less of a shortage. And it's 3 years out now.
No, because a lot of the people that died were involved in, it affected, there's a worker shortage in every industry. While at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't want to do those jobs anymore as well. And so those two things combined are fucking with the supply chain. And so car parts, computer parts, all of it is still affected, but the drug industry in particular has been affected by it.
Yeah, I heard about it, and I'm like, oh. I don't take any drugs regularly, so I don't know. So
I take a whole bunch of drugs, and I'm really lucky that none of them have been affected. This Mounjaro stuff, we're just buying it out of pocket. So, that part's still available. We use what's called a it's not a pharmacy, it's a
black market.
There's a fucking word for it.
Illegal?
No. The guy's name is Kenny. He's down on the south side. So they're an in-betweener in the industry between whatever. They're between the drug manufacturer and the consumer. and so I can't remember the name of it. There's a cool name for these things, and but it's just weird, man. It's weird to not be hungry.
Yeah.
Like right now, I haven't had anything to eat today. All right. Now, granted, I've only been up for 2 hours, but and yesterday I had like almost nothing, and it's just very strange that I'm not ravenous. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm always hungry, or at least willing to eat.
You know, the thing is that I
made chocolate chip cookies yesterday. I made chocolate chip cookies with like a little cookie on the bottom, and then a Reese's cup in the center, and then I put another cookie on top and made them in cupcake tins.
Jesus God, man, that is decadent as
Saw it
hell.
on TikTok.
Yeah, that's some Halloween. That's some Halloween shit right there. How was Halloween, by the way?
It was hardly any kids. It was snowing.
Yeah.
An inch of snow yesterday. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's all gone now. But
We had the same as always.
And I found a picture of Michelle, my youngest, 2014, so nine years ago, whatever. Trick or treating in a snowstorm. The last time we had a snowstorm on Halloween, and I remember her being the only one who was so freaking dedicated that there was no way she was not going to go out trick or treat. And she was out there in the wind and the rain with a big parka over her costume, trick or treating. And by the end of it, people were giving her bags of candy because nobody had showed up. And that's what we were doing. It's not like, oh, here's a piece of cake. We're a handful. Here you
Handfuls,
go.
man. Well, we had we have. I think you and I both have neighborhoods that are. It's not just the neighborhood kids that are trick or treating. Like people drive there from and ours is like that. People practically bus in to go to our neighborhood.
This was This is our last Halloween we plan on being here handing out candy. So we were like, oh, maybe we should go get the full size candy bars, and I never got around to it.
Yeah, that's expensive, man. No kid's worth that. No.
My always thing is that we'll have extras, you know. And then,
That's not a good plan, but yeah, I get you on that. I may not be able to go to San Fran. Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about San Francisco?
Nah.
All right, so this is Jeremiah Creek and the Beat Cops Guide, which I still upload them both. Because,
Yeah.
So, the other day, I was looking for our outro music.
Do I need to make new outro music?
No, we have some. I just the other day I was looking and I don't know what I did with it, but I had found some outro music.
I know that fucker's parked in my space already. I just know it. I know when I get home, his fucking long ass van is going to be sitting there.
Well, I can't find the outro music. I should have looked it up before the show started. Thank you for joining Jeremiah Creek.